breaking news into the Fanfare newsfeed.
So, hey, everybody, before I get going, wanted to tell you about some breaking news that was just announced literally about 10, 15 minutes ago. Caroline Leavitt is out at the White House, as of August 31st. She's done. Gonna see who is gonna be coming in. Let me give you the quick announcements before we begin the show. President Trump posted, our wonderful White House press secretary and one of my most trusted aides, Caroline Leavitt, will be departing her role at the end of the month so she can spend more time with her beautiful young children and family. As you know, she just had a baby. A decision I totally understand and respect. Caroline will now be one of my top outside advisors and an influential voice within the Republican Party as we work to defy history. Interesting word there, to defy history and conclusively win the midterm elections. Caroline has been a real leader in the White House and has done a phenomenal job fighting for justice, liberty, and freedom since 2018, including our historic re-election campaign of 2024. Caroline has been one of the best White House press secretaries in the history of the office, and I would concur. Thank you, Caroline, for a job well done, President Donald J. Trump. So she is going to be out, and she also posted a very long goodbye, which I won't read the entirety of it because it's so long. But this is her post. Serving as the White House press secretary over the past year and a half has been the honor and adventure of a lifetime. I am incredibly grateful to President Trump for granting me so many extraordinary opportunities, such as working in the West Wing and spending countless hours in the Oval Office, flying around the world and meeting foreign leaders and traveling across our beautiful country and meeting Americans from all walks of life. Most of all, I am thankful to the president for entrusting me with the distinct privilege of speaking on his behalf at the White House podium. I have spoken with great pride about the many historic accomplishments of this administration, and I have relished holding the liberal media accountable and ensuring the American people hear the truth about President Trump's success. And then she goes on, like I said, it's a very long post, but in any event, Caroline Leavitt is going to be out at the end of August. August 31st may be her last day, at which point we'll have to bring in a whole new press secretary. I've got some thoughts on this. I'll save it till once we get into the show, but I definitely have some thoughts on this. So let's start the show.
Yeah. Here's the thing. Let's look at it this way. We're kind of indefinitely waiting for them to get their act together here and get the sticks and bring them back and go on. And we've got folks here who are working real late. And I don't think we want to, keep them here to, this could go 90 minutes. And it's 90 minutes of me saying, have you heard of any other athletes running for Congress? It's like we've come so far here. It's been 4 hours since polls closed. It's been an unbelievably interesting and intense night here, and it really is coming down to this one giant, update in Milwaukee. But man, we waited 90 minutes for them. They did this whole procession, and then they find out there's nothing on the sticks. So it's just my way of saying that. I'm just trying to say to the audience here, so I'm not abruptly ending on them, just why we're doing this, because the audience has been with us for 4-6 hours in some cases, for this moment that didn't happen. And so, folks, I think we are gonna wrap it here for the reasons we're saying here. But I want you to know I hate, doing this to you, because you've been. I know you're here for results, and we've come to the point where it's like one thing away. I hope you understand that we gotta let everyone here has been here for a long time, and so I'm just trying to. Okay. Oh, I need. So this is okay. So folks, here's what's happening. I'm doing this is sort of a cut-in thing. I have to. They're gonna. Let me set this so it's.
Can you? Sorry.
Yeah.
Producing the producer, Melissa. Do we want to do Wisconsin results in these updates, or how do we want to parse these out? Okay.
Okay, so we're doing this is like kind of a cut-in thing. We're gonna tape here that they're gonna insert into News Now. So if you'd like, you can watch us put this together.
A few moments later.
In the results, what we uncovered was that 5 of the sticks had the audit log downloaded and not the results. It's a human error. These things can happen. So basically what we need to do is go back to the operations center, and we're going to download out of those 5 machines the results and make sure that's not the audit. So we have the reports printed from the first download. We're going to reprint and start the process so that we can compare those results. We invite you to come join us. Marketplace Target will come with us too. And so we'll re-download those results and then send them back here to be uploaded.
There are 5 machines are an issue?
Correct. Not the machines, the sticks. So the download process was, the audit log was downloaded, not the results.
How do commoners?
9.
And so you will only be reviewing those 5 sales.
Correct.
But we can't know all of the results, and we can't see these 6 worth of results that were to be correct.
Wait, continue.
Download USB drives. Wrong camera. Hold on. Why did this not go to the right camera? Download USB drives. It can happen. Her exact words. I could not believe as I was listening to this, and some of you who didn't see that before, I hope that struck you. Just the last part. Hey, so wait a minute. You had 5 sticks. You had 5 USB drives, 5 of them. And the data that you downloaded to go take someplace else to re-upload were wrong. Imagine my surprise when I heard this. It happens, is what she actually said. It happens. So, are we to understand now that shit happens and you guys can move votes around with USB drives and stick them in other computers and then upload and download as need be? Did you actually just say that on television? You just watched probably the most uncomfortable 3.5 minutes ever recorded in broadcast news, where the numerology guy on MSNBC, MSN Now, MS Want to Get Away, just kind of stared and said, something's wrong? Something's not working? And just went quiet at times, listening to people trying to explain into his ear, hey, what am I supposed to say right now? We are watching on live television. Everything the Democrats have said never happens. It never happens. They're all foolproof. There's no possible way And then the explanation was worse than the awkward silence. What's the explanation for what's happened? Well, we downloaded the wrong stuff. What? Nobody asked a question? What do you mean you downloaded the wrong stuff? You got to go back to the other office, download the stuff you need to have. Then we got to come back and plug it into this computer, and voila, the black guy wins. It's fantastic. Oh, we beat the socialists. Well, we saved the world. Are you kidding me? Bet you won't see that footage anywhere else after that live thing. Nobody's going to report on that. Probably the woman who said she downloaded and uploaded is probably going to get disappeared. Who knows where she's going to be? Because she just walked out a press conference and had the other lady stand behind her, and they were like both like looking. Did you hear what she said? I found it stunning. Now, of course, I didn't want the black guy to win. I don't really care. They're both Democrats. I definitely didn't want the socialist to win. He's basically just socialism light. He's like a Methodist, but like Catholic light. But all of a sudden, he wins. After they take the download and the upload and change the sticks and go back and forth, he all of a sudden wins at 3 o'clock in the morning. I don't know. Can you think back to a night back in, I don't know, November of 2020? You think back to that and think, well, yeah, I'm going to bed. The candidate won. All of a sudden, you wake up the next morning. What do you mean a whole bunch of votes came in overnight? They laughed at us. They called us election deniers. They kicked us off of social media networks. They canceled our videos for even saying, hey, man, I don't think this is right. All this stuff happened in the middle of the night. Nobody saw it. And damn if we just didn't witness it live. Are the Democrats now election deniers? Because all of a sudden people are like, well, I'm not sure she really lost. I mean, hey, how did this happen? Welcome to the club. Welcome to the club. Come on in, have a seat. We'll tell you how it works. Remember, they told us, no, there's no way for anybody to ever download votes. She was like, that's how we do it. Sometimes it happens. What? We were banished for saying that? Now you're saying sometimes it happens? How often does it happen? When have these sometimes been logged? Who's known about these sometimes? Did it happen, I don't know, in 2020? I don't know, any other election says that sometimes it happens. Where does the disk come from? Where does the drive come from? Who's in control of the drive? Who is it given to? Is it under seal? Is it just stuck in somebody's pocketbook or pocket? What's the chain of custody here? You're talking about a gubernatorial election in this instance, and in this instance, you're telling me 5 out of the 9 drives got effed up. Quick math will tell you that's over 50% of the data got messed up. 5 out of 9 is over 50%. So if 50% of the data that was on these drives, somehow we messed it up, did you download it twice, 3 times? Did you change it? Every scenario right now should be in play. And the problem is they probably told Miss Communist, Miss Socialist, go away. Just go away. Don't shut up. Don't contest this. We'll pay you. We'll make sure you stay quiet because this is a Pandora's box. And I'm not talking a little bit of a Pandora's box. I am talking a huge, giant Pandora's box. So much so that even the people who are liberals or MAGA haters, you know who I'm talking about, can't explain what happened. The only thing that is now clear is actually two things. A, they do mess up the data and they can download it and they can re-upload it. I guess that's three things. And the other thing is polling at this moment in time is irrelevant. Completely effing irrelevant. I never want to hear from another pollster as long as I live. You guys are snake oil salesmen. I thought I proved it a year or so ago, but now it's been underscored with a giant asterisk. Ignore these effers. They don't know what the hell they're saying. Nothing they say makes any sense, and they can't back it up other than say, well, that's the people we asked. None of us have ever been asked on a poll. I'll be 66 real soon. Never has anybody ever polled me. Nobody has ever polled Robin. Nobody I know has ever been polled in their entirety of their lives. That'd be a good question for the chat. How many of you have ever been polled? And I'm not saying that they took a swing at a ball and foul tipped it. They swung up here and the ball was dribbling in the dirt. They completely missed it. Let me show you some of this stuff. Nate Silver from the 539, another heralded pollster. He says this, well, she might come back, but what the F is up with these primary polls? I'm sorry. Are you a pollster asking us what's wrong with the polls? Did you just ask us what's going on with these polls? So let me show you some of this polling data. This was, make sure I get it right here. Okay, this was a New York Times Democrat polling of Crowley at 40.8, and then, this was the actual results. These were the results that were coming in. So now we'll go to the polling. And as we go to the polling, and we click to the next one, these polls had Hong winning by beyond the margin of error. It wasn't even close. 20, 18, 25 points. Look at the numbers on how big she was supposed to win. And all those people or entities in the left side are supposedly reputable polling companies. How do you miss that bad? How do you miss an election poll by 20 points? Next who came up? Oh, Spencer Pratt was calling it out as well. Spencer Pratt said, they use fake polls. Yep, all of it. They use third world bots on their X accounts. Yep, make it look like a lot of people like them and are spreading their stuff. They cheat whatever they can to give this false impression of popularity and inevitability of the socialist virus, because the language of the communist is a lie. These psychos aren't popular. They're just scammers. Vote. Don't let commies run anything, not even dog catcher. You've seen how the DSA people, Democrat Socialists of America, treat dogs anyway. He's talking about Hassan Piker, who electrocuted his dog on screen. But nonetheless, let's go and show you the polls and some of the stuff that they were saying then. There was a feature article, and it says, final poll, right before the election, shows that Hong with a 22-point lead. How did a 22-point lead evaporate in a couple hours? How did it just go poof? Somebody want to tell me? Any pollster want to tell me this one? Then this one came up, and this was the actual vote, and it's like microscopic, 39.98 to 39.83. Somebody got some splaining to do, Lucy. Let's see who came in next. This person, Brittany Ray. She says, are you this far effing off in your polling? This is from the New York Times. Look at the difference in these numbers. Hong 22, Hong 18, Hong 19, Hong 25, Hong 29. Hong 20. How did you miss that bad? Who else do I got here to show you? Finally, Frank Luntz. Frank Luntz, yeah, he's a pollster, another one of these guys, but at least he had the sense to say this. I'm calling for a total and complete shutdown of primary polling in the Midwestern United States until we can figure out what the hell is going on. I can tell you what's going on. Your profession is crap. Nobody is buying the stuff that you, hopefully, none of you ever looks at a poll anymore. When the pollsters, Frank Luntz, what's going on? Nate Silver, hey, anybody want to tell me what happened? No, that's your job. That's what you get paid for. That's why you go on television. That's why you pontificate on how this person's going to win. And the only thing you can do right now is, we're going to have to pause this until we figure out what's going on. Isn't that your job? Nate Silver, remember, how might come back, but what the F is up with these primary polls? Why are you asking us? This is where you know this entire industry, I guess we can call it an industry, has completely fallen apart. They have no clue what the hell they're doing. And then let me just show you this last one because I have to. Because I don't know how we got involved in this. We weren't voting for Hong. We weren't voting for Crowley. Most of us don't even live in Wisconsin. But MAGA is back to all the polls suck. What do you mean back to all the polls suck is what I had posted. What do you mean back to? You know, true MAGA all along has said your polling sucks. True MAGA have said all along, you guys are full of crap. You're snake oil salesmen. We can't answer it because we'd be looking at fake stuff. You guys have been peddling fake data, and this time you got caught with your diapers down. I would have said pants, but you must be little kids following this crap. And then on top of it all, people who are making money on it completely blew it. Polymarket. Polymarket. Breaking. DSA Francesca Hong is a near lock to win today's Wisconsin governor primary. Despite no backing from Bernie or AOC, she is a 96% chance to win. I haven't heard data that bad except for when you said Hillary was a 96% chance to win, and you completely blew it. Unbelievable. And so now here we are, stuck, the rest of us looking into Wisconsin, paying attention to this and wondering, how can we trust any poll ever again? That's the first thing. And number two, understanding we've been lied to. You can stick a disk, a USB drive, into a computer that's not supposed to be accessible, that's not supposed to be able where you can manipulate anything, but you just told us, and it's okay with everybody. Nobody's complaining. Oh, yeah, that happens sometimes. You can take a disk, stick it in your pocket, go over to another computer and stick it in that computer, and look, now we got the right numbers at 3 o'clock in the morning. This town needs an enema, big time, as in Batman. Our elections are horrifically crooked. I won't go as far as saying rigged, because it may be, from what we've seen, it may be complete ineptitude. These people may just not know what the hell they're doing. But in any event, how much trust do you have right now in the midterms? How confident are you that all these close races and all these swing states are going to be just fine? And that you won't wake up at the next morning and find out at 3 o'clock that somebody took a disk and stuck it in the wrong computer and deleted something, and sometimes it happens. I don't want it to happen sometimes. I don't want it to happen at all. There's only one way we can fix this. And the only way we can fix this is with the Save America Act. And I think a second way is go back to paper ballots where you got to put a thumbprint on it. Then, of course, they could dump them out the back door or stuff, but it's still a lot safer than somebody taking a USB drive, pulling it out of one computer, sticking it in their pocket, walking across to another office, sticking it in there, uploading it, and then saying, there we go, now we have a final election. I'm not a socialist, don't care for socialists, wouldn't have voted for a socialist, but she got screwed. So I'm going to ask you one question before I bring SV on. If they will do it to themselves, if they will completely rig a crooked election for their own primaries, what the hell do you think they're willing to do at the midterms? You see, I think we all just saw it, and we saw the news didn't say anything about it. They just went on their merry way. Oh, yeah, he won, the new guy, the new black guy. How you doing? Yeah, you're the new guy. No questions asked, except I gotta believe there's one man sitting in 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue and said, see? You see what I'm talking about? See what I've been telling you guys for years? Go ahead and download, Caroline, before you leave, download that video, download all that stuff. The stuff that Barry showed, go ahead and get more. Tell Elon we need to do whatever we need to do. I need all this because shit's about to hit the fan. I'm going to tell you about that in a second. You know, it's funny, as we heard about Caroline Levitt leaving, I just thought my second. Now this is full tinfoil hat stuff. I have nothing to base this on whatsoever. I'm gonna share with you one of my tinfoil. I wouldn't say it's a fantasy, but something that came to mind here. And I'm putting it all together with the whole, clandestine move and operation of taking President Trump out of one plane, sticking him in a truck, driving over here, and doing all this. Something's happening. I'm feeling, with no evidence, as the Democrats like to say, but something has got my spidey senses rising. So I'm going to give you two what ifs based upon the two things that just happened. And I was telling SV earlier, this might sound crazy, but there's a lot of crazy stuff going on. 24 hours ago, I couldn't have told you that they took a disk out of one computer and stuck it in another computer. You'd be like, Barry, that's some tinfoil hat stuff. You're crazy. Yeah, that was crazy until it happened today. What if President Trump, there was no Iranian threat? What if President Trump got off plane A, went into the food truck, and went into plane B because he was meeting somebody, and he didn't want nobody to see who he was meeting with? It made a little bit, I started thinking of the people on the plane. Scott Bessent was still on the plane. Marco Rubio was still on the plane. Do you think they didn't know what was going on? I would have loved to have been seated behind them and see what they were doing. Were they just sitting there on their phones, reading? No big deal. You think he didn't tell his own cabinet members, hey, Marco, yeah, I'm staying out of this place. Okay, got you. What about me? Sorry, you got to stay here. Hope it works out for you. What's more credible? What's more credible? He told Marco and said, Marco and Scott, hope it works out. Hope to see you guys back in Washington. Or did Marco and Scott know something, and then he got on the plane with Pete Hegseth? I don't know. I'm not being a Candace here. I'm just bringing up a discussion point because some didn't make any sense. And then I'm going to show you something in a second that now adds to it. Now you add in Caroline Levitt. I'm like, wow, she's out already? I don't know, maybe I watch too many Godfather movies, but maybe they're bringing in somebody who's a consigliere type person. Don't be surprised if the new press secretary is a press secretary guy. Maybe because the poop's about to hit the fan and Caroline is kind of vulnerable with two or three little kids. Maybe they want to bring in, somebody like Tom. They want to bring in a hardened person. I saw some of you guys name Matt Gaetz. I don't think it'll be him. But what if they were bringing in somebody who was, a wartime consigliere? Maybe I watched too many movies. But something, the Spidey thing in the back of my neck goes, something's up. And I'm going to show you something. When you take all this together, you may say to yourself, yeah, there seems to be something happening. Everybody goes, nothing happening. It's happening. I'm going to prove to you it's happening. We just don't know what it is. I don't know, but hopefully I can show you guys some things and you guys can think about it yourself. All right, SV, what you got? You there? What the heck did I hit the wrong button? Wait a minute. You know what, SV? I got to apologize to SV and apologize to y'all. I know you're there. I can see you, hit the wrong button. I'll do it manually. I had an interview this morning with a client, and I messed up the button, so I may have to do things in the manual type way. So,
okay. Hey, listen, just in, Marco Rubio is headed back to the White House to handle the press briefing tomorrow.
Are you serious?
No, just kidding.
Oh, okay.
Actually, I have a hint. I have an idea who it may be. I think it might be Stephen Chung, because he's a longtime Trump loyalist and he's got a combative style. I think he might be the next one. Just saying. We'll see what happens.
I'd love it if it was Stephen Miller. That's what I thought you were going to say.
That when he gets that snark, I have a few things to say to you liberals. You suck.
They would be very short press conferences.
Yes.
Any questions? No, I didn't think so. Okay. Oh, they go. They would not want that smoke whatsoever.
Hell
All right.
no.
So I got your thing here. Let me click the button. I don't know. Let me. Hold on. Let's see if it works. And yep, it worked. Okay. So that one still works. All right. All right. So. I see what you got, Pete Hegseth. I got him coming up in a little bit too.
Okay,
but go ahead.
We'll do this one first here. So, so days after being inaugurated, Colombia's new right-wing president, Abelardo de la Espriella, has just authorized. I have 4 years of Spanish many years ago, Barry, so I can handle a couple words. Anyway, he has just authorized joint U.S. military operations to target the cartels. All right. Colombia has also joined President Trump's America's Counter-Cartel Coalition. Hegseth, I'm proud to announce that Colombia will join the A3C, becoming the 19th member. And through the newly inaugurated president, as our president likes to say, President El Tigre, Colombia has already requested that the Department of War join Colombia in its fight against narco-terrorism. They're authorizing joint military operations to destroy terrorists and terror networks. This is incredible. Colombia is about to become a big ally, a massive shift from former left-wing President Petro.
You believe in coincidences?
It's called Don Rowe Doctrine. Again, I'll say that again.
And it just happened to get announced today. After all the different things we're seeing happen, that just got announced today. That's big.
Yep.
What other... I wonder what countries at this point are not in the A3C, which again, isn't that a new name? I thought they were calling it something else before. Now it's what's it called? America's Counter Cartel Coalition. That's not what they called it before. Wasn't it the what was it?
I do not know.
Something of the Americas. I forget what it was. But now it's.
I like the Avengers.
Yeah, the Avengers. That was the best name. We'll just call it that.
Right.
All right. So number 2 is something I need to download, or it's pretty quick. Okay, go ahead.
All right. So Brandon Gill nails it. Democrats are importing Muslims to seize power. He says large-scale Islamic immigration into the United States benefits the left because they are able to play that group off of other groups and say, you're the victim. You need to be able to come into this country and bring in all of your family members. And it's the evil Republicans who aren't allowing you to do that. Repel Islam at all costs. This guy's fire. He's based.
But hold on.
Oh,
That but how
Kevin Merritt.
how did they trick the white people into becoming Islamic slaves?
More gaslighting. I mean, but again, half the country. I mean, people voted for Hong. Allegedly. I mean, there was several 100,000 voted for her. I mean,
Right? Yeah.
it tells you all you need to know, that there's so many brainwashed people out there. I mean, I saw a video of one lady going, I'm voting up for her because she's a woman. She represents me. Really? You hate white people? You hate Thanksgiving? You hate Christmas? You hate, what do you like? Nothing.
Oh my gosh. Now I see something that says number 3, or was that number 3?
I think you had it out of order. Clandestine was the one, and then
Okay. Let's do that one before we jump.
and that's the last one. So that's we did a little out of order.
Okay, here we go.
This was a couple of hours ago. So Clandestine was talking about the Charlie Kirk issue there. He goes, this is kind of a bombshell. Tyler Robinson's defense is trying to avoid the death penalty by arguing that Tyler only intended to harm Charlie, not anyone else. It sounds like they have conceded that Tyler unalived Charlie and are just trying to secure a lesser sentence. To me, this signals that the defense recognized that the evidence is overwhelming and Tyler Robinson will be convicted for the unaliving of Charlie Kirk. I mean, right.
If you were only trying to harm him and not take him out, why did you use a high-powered rifle with a scope? I mean, and why'd you go for the headshot? I mean, if you've got a scope and you're that close, you could have hit him in the shoulder, so that you went for a headshot. And don't get me started, because then all the Candace nuts will say, oh, but it wasn't really, it was an exploding backpack or something there. I don't know.
Larry, I remember that day. I watched it live and I texted you and you wrote back to me like, what? Like, yeah, it was horrific day. It was horrible.
And that was one of the ones where I sat and looked at it like I was watching a football play, and I rewound it and it went down frame by frame to see where it hit and everything else. I'm like, I told Robin, I said, he's gone. And she's like, he's gone right there. They won't announce it until a doctor announces it at the hospital, but I bet you everybody around him knew he's gone.
Yeah.
And, because
we are Charlie Kirk.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
that's all I have for the moment. That's all I have for right now.
All right. Well, let me get into the next
commercial
part.
Break.
Yeah, I got one here.
No time.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Thank you,
See
sir.
soon.
All right. Listen, do you owe back taxes? If so, you might want to get that taken care of. Or do you have unfiled tax returns? Or have you filed every year, but you still keep owing? Did you retire and suddenly get hit with a tax bill you didn't expect? Are you a business owner with a messy book or accounting and a balance you can't afford? Maybe you pulled money from your 401k or your IRA early, and now the IRS wants its share. However your tax issue started, the outcome is the same. Your balance will not be going backwards. It's not going to go down. Penalties will continue to grow. Interest compounds, and many of you are about to owe again for the next year. And you have no plan in place. So stop what you're doing and call Tax Network USA. The IRS is not waiting. The IRS is enforcing collections through wage garnishments, bank levies, and property seizures. Now understand, as we're getting ready to do down here with no real estate tax, property taxes, it's going to make it even more appealing to the IRS. They can even file for you without your consent. This is where Tax Network USA comes in. With over 15 years in business, there hasn't been a tax case they haven't seen or resolved. They specialize in tax controversies and help taxpayers nationwide get back on track by resolving back taxes and unfiled returns once and for all. Whether you owe $10,000 or $10 million, their team has resolved over $1 billion in tax debt. And they could do the same for you, but you have to make the call. They're offering you a free investigation call with the IRS. After that investigation call, they put a clear case plan in place to resolve your tax problem and get you back on track. This is about using your legal rights to take control before the government sets the terms for you. Don't wait for another IRS letter or a frozen bank account. Call 866-686-1377 or visit tnusa.com/Barry or click the link in the video description below. Do it. If you need help, don't wait. All right, be back in 90 seconds.
One man is being victimized by our own government. One man whom they fear, yet who millions love. One man who is willing to take the poison arrows of lawfare. One man whose voice has been taken away by a corrupt judge operating in a corrupt system. One man who has been ridiculed and insulted. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who stands between us and them. One man that wants to see America protected again. One man who wants to see America prosper again. One man who understands that a man is a man and a woman is a woman. One man who understands and protects the blessing of life. One man who wants to restore American exceptionalism. One man who once again wants to make America that shining city on a hill for all to see. A place where all the people of the world glowingly set their eyes upon. America. One man who unashamedly wants to make America great again. That one man is Donald Trump.
This is Fanfare with Barry Cunningham.
All right, so a story broke yesterday afternoon, and it's a very interesting story I want to bring to you guys because I think it says a lot as to, I think it ties into everything. I want you guys to hear this. This is an interview or a piece of an interview that President Trump did yesterday afternoon.
So let me put an idea in your head, okay? Because it's so hard to get the Senate to do anything, now they're on recess, they don't get anything done if they never get the Save America Act done. You have the right to declare a national security emergency for elections. And the Supreme Court ruled in 1983 under Reagan that INS versus Chadha, that if you declare a national security emergency as the President of the United States, they can't challenge it. It can only be overturned by a 2/3 vote of both houses of Congress. So if you do this in the next month, we will get photo ID, proof of citizenship, and a limit to mail-in ballots, and you don't even need the Senate vote.
Okay, I'll leave it at that.
All right, we'll leave it at that.
We'll leave it at that. He didn't even want to address it. Didn't even want to bring it up. Almost as if, hey man, you're spoiling the show here we have planned for you. Don't go there yet. We don't want to tell these people what we have in store. Again, if you start putting all these dots together, We have the outline of something big about to happen. Wayne Root is the guy's name. He was interviewing President Trump yesterday over the phone, and he asked him straight up, if you do this, then you don't have to worry about the Save America Act. You can just go ahead and call it a national emergency and basically kind of take over the elections. It's a little gray area, but not a whole lot of people picked up on that. However, CNN did, and CNN immediately jumped on it and went, whoa, 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 what? What are you talking about? So I took CNN's article and I put it into a Grok, not a Grok article, a X article, so you guys can see it. And it says, could President Trump declare the midterms a national security issue? Yes, yes, he could. And I always, FTA, in case you guys ever want to know, means from the article. So you can click on it and go right to CNN. It says Trump declines to rule out declaring a national security emergency to control the 2026 election. They caught on it. They heard that. That was 40 seconds. 40 seconds of the entire interview. I think it was like an hour's long interview, but 40 seconds, like, don't want to talk about it. Wait a minute. You talk about everything. And Wayne was smart enough. Okay, we'll move on. He understood. I think he's interviewed probably President Trump more than any other reporter. I think they get along very well. He's had 17 interviews with President Trump, and he caught on immediately. Stranger things have happened. I'll let you know. Okay, we'll move on. He knew right away, don't go there. So the article that CNN, this is word for word from the CNN article. President Trump, in a new interview, declined to rule out declaring a national security emergency as a means to try to assert more control over the 2026 midterm elections. It's merely the latest warning sign that Trump could try to mess with the election, not just by, they always say, baselessly claiming voter fraud. Well, no longer baselessly. We saw it last night live in person. It happens. Sometimes it happens. Now we know sometimes it happens. And challenging the results afterward, as he did in 2020, leading to a violent riot at the U.S. Capitol, but trying to unilaterally take control before the votes are even counted, or even cast. That's a big difference. Afterwards, looking at the results and saying we got screwed, it's like, okay, why don't we just make sure it's correct as we go forward? That would be a big difference, a huge difference. And so that's exactly what Wayne was alluding to. It says, in an interview, Wayne Allen Root of Real America's Voice pitched such a scenario to Trump. He suggested as an alternative, given the Senate has failed to pass Trump's coveted elections bill known as the Save America Act. And this is the quote that they just spoke of. He says, if they never get the Save America Act done, you have the right to declare a national security emergency for elections. He added that if you declare a national security emergency as the president of the United States, they can't challenge it. I did not know that. It can only be overturned by 2/3 of both houses of Congress, which that will never happen. So if you do this in the next month, we will get photo ID and proof of citizenship for voter registration and a limit to mail-in votes. It's at this point that Trump cut Root off and coyly suggested such an option was indeed in play. President Trump, as you just heard, said, let me say that stranger things have happened. Okay, I'll have to leave it at that. Just by saying, I'll leave it at that, has caused the libtards to go lose their minds. I'll leave it at that. So you're not saying no? No, I'll leave it at that. So now they're all thinking their worst nightmare could be coming true. Of course, we've seen President Trump praise and continue to praise John Thune. Was this the plan all along? Is this what he's going to announce relatively shortly to say, this is how we're going to do it? I don't know. It says, despite Root's comments, it is far from such a gambit would even work, and CNN has asked the White House for more detail on what the president meant. Trump often responds to hypotheticals by declining to rule them out, no matter how extreme the proposal might be. So it's possible to read too much into this. Then why'd you post it? But as CNN's Jake Tapper has noted, there are plenty of signals that Trump at least aspires to try to exert more control over elections, and those methods often appear transparently geared toward helping Republicans. Why would a safe election help Republicans more than Democrats? You know, Jake, by saying that, you're telling us that the people who vote for Democrats don't have IDs, don't have passports, can't show you who they are, i.e., they're not supposed to be voting. That statement that he just made there, as Jake Tapper said, it helps Republicans more. How? Isn't that like the definition of DEI? Aren't we all inclusive? Shouldn't everybody have an ID? You have to have an ID if you walk around the street so you're not a vagrant. Who doesn't have an ID and who doesn't have the opportunity to get an ID? We hear this crap every 2 and 4 years. Oh, it's tough on the black peoples. I'm black, got an ID, whole family black, all of them got ID. Everyone I've known has an ID. Well, it's too expensive. They can't get to the place and get one. I bet you they did for their food stamps. Who doesn't have an ID and who's incapable of getting one? So how can it possibly hurt one political party over another? It's a lie. We know it's a lie. He knows it's a lie. So let's continue. A major one is the administration's threat to have the U.S. Postal Service not deliver mail ballots for states that don't comply with the demand that they hand over their voter lists. This is a request that even many red states have rejected. You notice how they just quickly went to another subject. They just quickly went to another subject. Now, if you go through here and you scroll through it and everything else, they don't say much about his ability to do what was asked of him. It's like they don't want to talk about it. What's here? The Washington Post also reported in March that pro-Trump activists were circulating a potential order. That's not what we're talking about here. Nowhere in the article, nowhere do they talk about the idea of President Trump taking control by declaring it a national emergency. Wayne Allen Root explained to people the exact way it would happen. Either they don't know or they didn't want to look it up. They're saying a president can't unilaterally decide to take control of an election. As you can see here at the bottom, presidents generally have more authority to act when national security is involved, though. Hence the significance of invoking China, but some experts are skeptical that Trump's effort would pass legal muster. So in one instance, you say that presidents have more authority to act when it's national security, but then you say, some experts say, and they're skeptical of the fact of who that national security person or entity would be. So let me put my hat back on. Ready? Okay. So as I put my hat back on, this last paragraph that says, hence the significance of invoking China, but some experts are skeptical that Trump's effort would pass legal muster. Maybe they're saying that China isn't the big bad monster that they've been saying, that they didn't have the capability, that they weren't going to be the ones that we had to worry about. Well, what if, I don't know, let's say there was a country that we are currently involved in, that we're going back and forth for months now. The people can't understand. Why don't you do something, Trump? Blow them up. Maybe the whole idea wasn't to blow them up. We now have our own monster under the bed. And that monster under the bed, they're so egregious. I had to change planes and everything because they were going to shoot a missile shoot the missile at Air Force One and try to blow it out of the sky. A credible threat. So now we have a number of assassination attempts. We have President Trump and the military doing a vast maneuver of Mission Impossible style to get the president in a food truck and take the food truck to an army plane, take the army plane home. Don't tell anybody because it's really bad out there. They might try to kill me. So is it much of a stretch to think that the big monster under the bed wouldn't also try to interfere with our elections? Could this entire thing been about getting the monster in place that we can say at that point we have a national security issue with our elections? I don't know. But all I do know is something's happening, and they know something's happening. So let me go further. President Trump posted this at 10:30 this morning. Not sure if you heard this. And he says, the USA has total control over the Strait of Hormuz. I think we'll keep it. Our naval blockade is being called by everyone a wall of steel, and there is nothing Iran can do about it. They have no navy, they have no air force, the remaining soldiers are unpaid, the IRGC is decimated and fleeing, and their leadership, in quotation, is uncertain at best. They have no money, excuse me, their country is shot, all they have is fake news and 300% inflation. And getting worse, Iran is all talk and no action. The bully of the Middle East no longer. Praise be to Allah. Praise be to Allah. That's poking the bear. It's interesting how this is playing out. He had a tiny gaggle last night as he was coming back from the games, Patriot games, and I want you to hear this.
Games were tremendous. Great young athletes, the future of our country. And we had a great time in Ohio, a fantastic time in Ohio. The country's doing well. The stock market's fantastic record. We have 79 records so far in a short period of time. More people are working right now in the United States than ever before, and prices are dropping fast. Iran is going fine, going just absolutely fine. We totally control the Strait of Hormuz. We have control over it. Nobody else, only us. Our Navy is unbelievable, and things are going great for our country. Go ahead. Well, it's only up to Secret Service. I just follow what they'd like to do. So I go by Secret Service and the military. They wanted me to go on a different flight, a different plane, equal safety, but they wanted me to do it, so I do it. I do what they say. What's the nature of the threat? I guess there was a threat out there. I didn't really ask too much about it. I get a lot of threats.
I get a lot of threats. I didn't ask too much about it. I get a lot. They stuffed you in a food truck, and you didn't say, "Hey, why is this day worse than any other day? Why am I getting off of here and jumping into a food truck?" You didn't ask these people? What the hell are you talking about? I got a big old comfortable suite back here in the back of this plane, and you're telling me I got to get in a food truck, and I got to go across the tarmac, and I got to get into an army plane. You know, it's not the most comfortable of things. I got to sit in this army plane for 12 hours. There's no suite in the big C, whatever it was. And he didn't ask? Hey, I just do what they tell me to do.
I heard, good. What are you going to do to help her get over the finish line? Well, she just called me to thank me for the endorsement, and it's great that she's doing so well, and she's a very good woman, and she's got good genetics because she's related to Lindsay, who's a real professional. So,
you see, the one thing that the president can count on And every single one of us have to understand and count and understand he has to be able to count on this. He knows the people asking him questions are complete idiots. Because every single one of you in the chat would have said, well, what do you mean you don't know why they put you in the plane? You just don't usher the president of the United States into the back of a food truck. What kind of food truck was it? Was it an armored food truck, sir? Hey, you talking about Lindsey Graham's sister? He knows it. He knows much more than we know. He knows way more than they know. And he also knows they'll never ask the right questions. And so he can sit there and smile. Yeah, I just jumped in it and whatever. I do whatever they tell me. That's the answer? Are you seriously telling me the leader of the free world went off a giant plane that's outfitted with some of the best security and defense mechanisms in the world, jumped into a food truck, I don't know if it was refrigerated or not, and then went across the tarmac and got on an Army airplane, and none of you are asking what the hell happened? Nope, today I was watching, they still aren't asking. Okay, he deceived us. You don't want to go a little bit deeper in this, or is it you don't want to know the answer?
Well, we'll see. I'm going to call her right now. She just called me 2 minutes ago. She won by how many points?
Not yet, but she's nearly
She's definitely in a runoff, and that's good. That's what you want. Yeah, I think so, yeah. I mean, just so you understand, I like the other people in the race also. They're all Trump. I mean, they're all Trumpers, but, I endorsed her. I think she's great. It's really in honor of her brother, and she's really a very smart woman. Lindsey loved his sister. More than anything else, he would tell me about his sister, that she's just outstanding. He actually said she's better than him. That was hard for Lindsey to say. So she's out there. She's doing a great job.
You've mentioned 2028 several times in the last few weeks. At the dinner, you put on a Trump 2028 hat. Are you serious about seeking a third term?
Everybody asks me that question, and you know that the law is very strong on that. I'd love to run, but the law is very strong. I get asked by even tonight, they're screaming at the event, 2028. No, everybody wants me to do it, but the law is very strong. Thank you.
He didn't say no. just so you know, he didn't say no because the law is very strong. But they have laws that can be, challenged. But he didn't say no. I found that interesting.
Thank you very much, everybody.
If this one still flew out of the press and the White House officials on it, how much?
Well, this one went over to England, where it was shown to the soldiers. No, I know, but this one went over to England because the soldiers wanted to see it, and it stopped, and they showed it to the soldiers, and we did a switch over there, and it was really as per the military, and I just have to do what they say. They go for safety, and I have to do what they say.
How many of you believe that? How many of you believe that the president of the United States has no idea what the hell is going on, and that he just does what they tell him to do? Now, I understand, like in Butler, when they tell you to get down. But what happened? A man got shot. This is a guy telling all these reporters, I do what the Secret Service says. Well, we watched you not. When the Secret Service said, we got to get out of here, you popped your head up and went, fight, fight, fight. So your whole melon was available if somebody else was taking a shot. And then we also told you, wait a second, get my shoes. So you don't really listen to them because they would have just thrown you down and dragged you off. You stopped them twice. Fight, fight, fight. I got to get my shoes. Now we can go. I run this, not you. But now he's telling everybody, I just do what they tell me to do. I'm just a good little president.
Well, I don't know. I think actually the plane that I flew on was at greater risk. I think it was at greater risk because that would be the plane I think that they would be more likely to go for.
President, were you surprised, Mr. President, that the Secret Service was telling you to take that third plane?
No, not surprised. I have a lot of threats. I have a lot of threats that you don't know about. Any consequential president has a lot of threats. Non-consequential presidents don't get threatened. And I think that I'm maybe the most consequential president.
See that we've said that many times. I think other people have said we only know of 3 or 4 attempts. This guy is constantly under threats. It's a national security issue. I'm always under threat, he said to the press right there. And notice, none of them are asking about the truck. The thing I'm having is, if I was there, I would have been like, did you know the threat was there as you were leaving the venue from the games? When along the path did you realize there was a threat? When did the Secret Service realize that they needed a truck to move you across? Where did the truck come from? Was the truck just sitting there and they had a couple guys run over and commandeer it? Did they have to make sure the truck was secure, that there was nothing under it was going to blow up? Nobody's asking these questions. And think to yourself, all right, I'm planning the president's route. Okay, we're going to divert because there's an attack. All right, so what are you going to do? We're going to have him go up the stairs as a show, which incidentally is another part of the question here. So you had him go up the stairs by himself. So where was the person or people who might have had the surface-to-air missile? Because I'm pretty sure a surface-to-air missile could have gotten him going up the stairs. Every single one of you knows that. All right, so it was prudent enough to have you go up the stairs and go right back down the stairs into this truck. And not single reporters asking, where'd the truck come from? How did it get planned? Nobody has taken a ride out to the facility and go, where's this catering company? Anybody want to talk to the owner of the catering company? Hey, Bob, so when did you get the call from the Secret Service that said they were going to commandeer one of your trucks? Who drove the truck? There are so many questions, and these people don't even know to ask, and they are important questions.
There's nobody who's done more than me in a period of almost 6 years. There's nobody. I don't worry about anything, to be honest. Whatever it is, you know my attitude? Whatever.
Oh, wow. He said that just as the thunder came. My attitude is whatever. That looked like a man who's worried about the midterms. I mean, you listen to his words and his demeanor, whatever. Well, if it's whatever, why'd you climb in the back of a catering truck? Were you sitting next to some steaks or something? I won't belabor it. I just want you guys to begin dwelling on it as if you were in the Secret Service, or rather in the reporting pool here. And what questions would you like to ask the man who left you on a plane that was in danger? Like, wait a second. Wait. Why did you leave me on the plane? You're telling me there was a threat against the plane and my butt was sitting in aisle 4C, which was not too far away from your quarters. So if they was going to blow you up, it means they were going to blow me up. How is that okay, Mr. President? They're clueless. Why was Scott Bassett and Mark Rubio sitting there, eating popcorn and watching a movie on the way home? Something don't add up.
I don't trust Iran. Why? Are you saying I trust Iran? I'm the last person to trust Iran. They've lied to me constantly. We have total control over the Hormuz Strait right now. They don't have control. We have total control. We own it. And at some point, maybe they'll do something and then they get blown away. But right now, we're in a very good position. We have a country that has been the bully of the Middle East for 50 years. It's really 51 if you think about it, right? We've been saying 47 for 4 years. And they're no longer the bully of the Middle East. Thank you very much, everybody.
I mean, I don't even know how he sits in the beast. I don't know how he sits on a plane because he's got cojones. I mean, there must be like this big. He needs to have someone who walks behind him and holds the cojones. Damn. What are you worried? Whatever. What do you mean? You got all these people across the country, across the world, and you got nut jobs here who want to take you out, and you're not worried? Whatever. Wow. And you got this idiot in Michigan talking about toxic masculinity. That's a masculinity right there. I know people want to take off my head. I know somebody actually tried to take off my head. They were this close from taking off my head. And I know a whole bunch more of you guys would love to be in a position to take off my head. Whatever. Oh, that just goes up my spine. That a man can have that kind of cool and collect talking about he's got dementia. Are you kidding me? A demented person would be like, oh my God, I got to change planes. I got to climb off of this thing and get it. No, it's all under control. People say I support Trump too much. This is the kind of thing that makes me support him with, unwavering commitment. This is when I see this kind of stuff, when you see that and you're looking right in his eye, doesn't feel shit. Not worried. Whatever. Like, seriously, bro, how would you feel if you knew half the world was trying to kill you and your grandchildren and your children and your wife? At any point, anybody in your family that they could get a hold of, they would do the most worst things to them. And you look at him, he's like, yeah, they told me to go over here. I went over here. No big deal. Whatever. I'm like, damn. That's a man's man right there, and a woman's man, because I don't know how he could have that kind of composure. And then the funny thing is the press has no clue what to ask. None whatsoever. Oh, where'd he go? Wrong one. I keep.
I'm right here, bro.
I know. After that interview this morning, I got
Houston.
I got everything all discombobulated myself.
I'm here.
Yeah, the wrong button. All right. So in any event,
yes.
Crazy. So I saw your text. You got something. A plane went down or something?
No, Army Apache helicopter. That would
a
be
helicopter.
Cut number 4. Yeah, in Texas.
Was it training?
No reports yet, but it started a fire. So yeah, U.S. Army Apache gunship has crashed near Salado, Texas, sparking a large fire. I think that's near Fort Hood, I believe. 2 service members are confirmed deceased. Pray for their families today. Yeah, so Colorado, southeast of Fort Hood, but that has not confirmed the helicopter came from that base.
Wow.
It's probably training. I mean, yeah, they don't just usually fly around for no reason at all, but it's horrible. I mean, the weather, it's clear.
Training or transport, maybe,
Yeah, or malfunction.
Yeah.
Yes, I mean, sometimes they have problems.
Yeah, that's
anyway. Pray for the family.
Yeah, very much so. That's a sad story. All right, number 5 here. What is this?
Wasn't sure if you're covering this one. Are you covering this one? You said something about fraud.
But
1,000 fake weddings.
Yeah, it's coming up.
Okay, we can leave that one in.
Yeah.
Oh no, it's good. And then, that's why I asked.
And the last one I don't think it was funny. While we were doing that, I saw him on the screens. So I'll probably download this interview tomorrow. How long is
the interview's great.
Yeah,
this one's just a clip on the. Yeah, he actually goes about 5 minutes on AOC. It's fire. So you'll definitely have to show that. Anyway, this clip. He's at woke will never stop, and it's never going to stop. It can only be defeated when millions of upstanding citizens say we're not going to let them take our country away. Mm-hmm. That's what Trump and MAGA and America First is all about, and will always be about. Mm-hmm. So he's just going on and on, but he covers a couple other subjects as well.
All right, I'll clip that for tomorrow for sure, and we'll do that.
All right,
and that's all for now.
That's all we got.
All right, so I've got coming up. SV mentioned Pete Hegseth at the ACCC, A3C. I think they're calling it, which is AC3. The new Shield of America is what it was called, the Shield of America.
Yeah, your chat had it right. They were typing it.
Oh, they were saying it? Yeah. So maybe they've changed it from Shield of America to the A3C, but we will cover that with Pete Hegseth as soon as I get done. Thank you very much, SV.
All right. You're welcome. Thank you.
I'll get that button fixed. Well, I can't mess with it while we're doing a show, so I'll have to do it manually. All right. All right, everybody, let me tell you about one of today's sponsors. That would be Lear Capital. Do I have this correct? Yes. If you find it hard to really understand all of the technical information regarding the economy and the markets, it's not your fault. More than likely, no one has taken the time, or maybe you haven't even taken the time to educate yourself on the difference between a bond or a stock. So understand, never mind gold and silver, you got all kinds of terms. By the way, they're both back up again. So whatever's going on in Iran is causing the numbers to move around. But now you don't have to feel like that. My friends at Lear will help you learn about gold and silver at your pace before you jump in. They're making it easier for you to make an educated and informed decision about gold and silver. Now, all you have to do is text the code BARRY to 43343 or go to learberry.com or call 800-601-5430. And once you go to the website, you can download an investor's guide, sort of like this one, The AI Revolution, to begin learning more and more and more. And then once you get that, once you feel comfortable, you can go ahead and make the call and decide whether you want to move forward with a purchase. So now learning about gold and silver is extremely convenient and easy. All you've got to do is go to learberry.com or call 800-601-5430 and get your free guides. And there's by the way, they have a whole bunch of free guides, not just one. So you could get in there and do all kinds of learning before you even pull the trigger, per se. So go ahead, if you feel uncomfortable, learn what the market's doing, understand why gold and silver are important in your portfolio, and I think you'll agree once you read this stuff. All right, so Pete Hegseth did a short speech at this event just about an hour and a half ago, and he talked about the A3CCs, and he'll explain what that is. The America's
General,
Counter
thank
Cartel
you very much for
Coalition.
that update. And, today is the end of a conference forum here that was meant to be and has been operational and productive, focused on what we can do together. So I want to thank the President of Panama. I want to thank Minister Abrego. I want to thank all of our Panamanian partners for being such great hosts here, and for Panamax, which is ongoing for the first time in 14 years, live here in Panama. Thousands of troops right now from many of the nations represented here. And I want to thank every single country, sovereign, strong country, willing to step up and address this threat as a part of the America's Counter Cartel Coalition. But before we begin, just a moment, as the Senator did, to offer my sympathy to the people of Colombia, for Monday's devastating earthquake that I understand was even felt here in Panama. And the Department of War, with the State Department, is mobilizing critical life-saving aid to support the Colombian government's robust response to this tragic event, just as we did in Venezuela a few weeks ago. I also want to thank my team as well. Chief, Senator Moreno, thank you for representing not only the United States of America, but this hemisphere so effectively, and being such a powerful voice in the Senate for this effort as well. I'm grateful to be here with ministers and chiefs of defense, united in purpose and resolve as partners in the America's Counter Cartel Coalition, or ACCC. Just a few months ago, we laid out a shared vision for a safe, secure Western Hemisphere where borders and laws are respected and narco-terrorists are brought to swift and absolute justice. And yesterday and today and going forward, we are gathered to take the next step in our shared fight against narco-terrorists, gang members, and drug and human traffickers. Designated terrorist organizations, the ISIS and Al-Qaeda of the Western Hemisphere, no different, and they should be treated as such. It's now nearly 1 year since the launch of Operation Southern Spear, the first time in history that the Department of War launched a sustained military campaign against U.S. designated terrorist organizations in our shared hemisphere. And it has been a resounding success thus far. We've seen record drops in movements of narco vessels across major maritime corridors inside our hemisphere, including, at a minimum, 65% reduction in the Western Caribbean, a 60% reduction in the Eastern Caribbean, and a nearly 50% reduction in the Eastern Pacific in the north and south of the Galapagos Islands. We have knocked the narco-terrorists in the maritime domain on their heels. We forced them to adjust their tactics, techniques, and procedures, their TTPs, and operate outside of their comfort zones. We are retaking the open seas and our maritime borders. This is a bad time to get in a drug boat in the Western Hemisphere. The results are historic. In the United States, fatal drug overdoses have dropped dramatically. Flows of fentanyl are way down. Crossings at our southwest border have dropped to 0. The murder rate in American cities is at modern all-time lows, historic drops in crime. Life-changing progress that benefits each and every citizen of the United States of America, and indeed, every citizen of your nations as well. Now, predictably, as we like to call them, the fake news media has tried to discredit and delegitimize Operation Southern Spear. These same voices said nothing when governments allowed an unprecedented border crisis and record drug overdoses and deaths. Yet now they deny and try to diminish our success, our shared success. The left-wing media wants us to return to the failed strategies of the past, when America neglected our own neighborhood and our own neighborhoods, even as we sent our best, in our case, American troops, to do nation building halfway across the world. Globalists in Washington looked the other way, while our friends and neighbors to our south were victimized by drugs, violence, mass migration, Marxism, and foreign exploitation. The Biden administration and the Democrats ignored the U.S. southern border, openly accepting mass illegal immigration and destroying many of our great American cities. An invasion, no doubt. Under decades of globalist neglect, more than 1 million Americans died from fentanyl, cocaine, and other drugs. That's more loss than the United States had suffered in any war in our 250-year history. This blatant neglect for our national security also destroyed your borders and your sovereignty and your immigration systems as well. That is why we're here today together. Now, to be fair, I understand you may be feeling, and your countries may be feeling, and your militaries may be feeling some whiplash. Because just 18 months ago, the previous U.S. administration under Joe Biden, especially the previous administration here at Southern Command, stood in front of you promoting priorities like gender issues, women, peace, and security, or climate change, or diversity, dudes in dresses. I've said this before, but the Department of War is done with that nonsense. Full stop. And I assume you and your countries are as well. Real threats, real capabilities, no more leftist make-believe or dress-up time. The hard-working, law-abiding people of our nations suffered together far too long. But now we are working together, we are building together, and we are training together. We are killing terrorists. And we're defeating the failed and toxic ideologies of radical socialism and communism. Now, speaking of socialism, make no doubt about it. The international left, along with their enabling left-wing media, is plotting to unlawfully assert international criminal court jurisdiction over U.S. and partner military personnel and operations. To be clear, there is no legitimate basis for the ICC's lawless power grab that they will entertain anywhere they can in the world. Our efforts in this effort are 100% lawful under the laws of armed conflict. It's striking that this so-called court and other globalist bodies undermine our efforts but do nothing to hold real terrorists and real tyrants accountable. And that's why the ICC poses a threat to your national sovereignty, your constitutional mandates, and the national interests of your people, just as it does ours. Our nations retain our sovereignty and our ability to deploy our own warriors in our own defense. We will never relinquish our absolute right to defend ourselves from threats to our safeties and our citizens, of my country and of your countries. We answer only to our own citizens and our own constitutions, not unelected international bureaucrats. That's why I strongly encourage every ACCC member to leave the ICC and reject their attempts to rob your governments and your courts of your sovereignty.
Okay, not sure if you heard that, if you were looking down, checking a text, just listening, but he just asked all of the nations that are part of the America's Counter Cartel Coalition, the A3C, to all leave and denounce the International Criminal Court. Oh man, that is a dagger in the heart of the International Criminal Court, the ICC, by the A3C. And also, it also goes after the socialists directly by creating a coalition that's going against the ICC. Then Mandami and all the other socialists who want to do everything to have, the ICC be the governing board of law. Nope, not going to happen. That was huge that he said that, and I'm sure it reverberated all across Europe.
As a soldier, I swore an oath to the Constitution, not some fake and illegitimate international court. And in these efforts, we've already shown that deterrence works. Operation Southern Spear is a model that can be and should be followed across our hemisphere by each of you to degrade, dismantle, and destroy narco-terrorist networks. Under the leadership of General Donovan, the success of Operation Southern Spear will be transferred to the newly established Joint Task Force Western Hemisphere, the action arm of U.S. Southern Command, to continue the targeting and killing of narco-terrorists that threaten our shared backyard. I want to commend Ecuador for its regional leadership to become the first ACCC member to partner with the United States in combined kinetic operation against narco-terrorists in Ecuador. I also want to commend Honduras and Guatemala for inviting the United States to partake in combined operations against narco-terrorists in their countries. Your people are already safer and more free for your courage and your resolve, and we look forward to working with you in killing bad guys. Additionally, I want to thank Jamaica for working with the Department of War to create a new military partnership to cripple narco-terrorists that transit through the Caribbean. This partnership will forever change the security environment of the Caribbean. And finally, I'm also proud to announce that Colombia will join the ACCC, becoming the 19th member. And through the newly inaugurated president, as our president likes to say, President El Tigre, Colombia has already requested that the Department of War join Colombia in its fight against narco-terrorism, authorizing joint military operations to destroy terrorists and terror networks. Thank you very much. Aggressive and concrete steps like these exemplify the types of active participation, operationally focused, we want to see from our partners that will make the ACCC a potent and lethal coalition. Yes, we have meetings. Yes, we will coordinate, but ultimately this is about the operations we can conduct together, jointly, to protect individual sovereignty and the entirety of the hemisphere. The Trump administration knows that a safer backyard means a safer home. You can't have prosperity without security. In fact, eventually economic security taking hold is the long-term solution, but you need physical security to enable that economic security. With you, with all of you, the United States will forge a safe, stable, and prosperous Western Hemisphere. We seek neither domination nor dependency. We only seek, and I know you feel this from Southcom and from the General, genuine partnership with your governments to achieve security, stability, and prosperity. 2 centuries ago, the Monroe Doctrine was America's first stand against foreign meddling and exploitation in our hemisphere. The United States declared to European colonial powers that we will regard any threat against the free nations of this hemisphere as a threat to the United States itself. Well, now, under President Trump's strong, clear, and visionary leadership, we follow the Trump corollary to the Monroe Doctrine. We will defend our hemisphere from external threats to national sovereignty, whether from narco-terrorism or foreign malign actors. And we will deny adversaries the ability to position forces or otherwise threaten capabilities in our hemisphere. And that's why the United States is particularly grateful for the strong leadership in Panama of President Jose Raul Mulino right here. It's my second time to Panama, and the strides that we have made together over the last year, I think, are exemplary of the type of partnership we look for in this hemisphere. President Mulino has courageously rejected foreign malign coercion and boldly resisted international pressure tactics. Panama has set a strong example for rejecting threats to their sovereignty, threats to the Panama Canal, and instead advancing U.S. partnership on both. And with Panama and other countries, the United States will continue to lead the way. Under President Trump, the United States War Department seeks a historic generational investment in our military spending through a new $1.5 trillion budget. We have work to do with our Congress, but make no mistake, we will work as hard as humanly possible with Republicans and across the aisle if we can to deliver what is truly a necessary historic investment to ensure America remains the dominant military power on planet Earth. Thankfully, U.S. allies in NATO likewise have vastly increased their commitment to the common defense, and we believe that ACCC members must follow this example as well. The Department of War is willing and able to support all of you to enhance your military capabilities. But of course, we expect substantial investment in your own abilities as well, and for those to be increased on defense resources. If countries are serious about their defense, the Department of War will prioritize our efforts to enhance your capabilities and fight beside you on the battlefield. And to reiterate, not really necessary for this group, but around the globe, President Trump does not tolerate free riding. And we're not here for games. When we say we will dismantle the cartels, we mean it. And I know the nations of this coalition feel the exact same way on behalf of their citizens, and will take concrete steps, sometimes risky steps, courageous steps, in partnership, such as reaching status of forces agreements or access basing and overflight agreements. Our citizens and our nations deserve and expect real, concrete actions. We believe there's no time to waste, and no better time than right now. And we will be with you. I pledge to you, from the White House to the Pentagon, shoulder to shoulder, every step of the way. Because together, we are the offspring of Western civilization. Our nations are and will always be united by heritage, history, and geography in this new world. We share the same interests and the same civilizational soul. And so we all face the same essential test: whether our nations will remain Western nations, remain prosperous nations, remain Christian nations under God, remain...
You could see some liberals just quickly clench up on that one. Remain Christian nations. So he's talking to 19 or 20 different countries, and he acknowledges that those countries are Christian nations, which has got to make these satanic people on the left just want to vomit and completely freak out. I found that to be very, very interesting that he included that in there.
Proud of our shared heritage with strong borders and prosperous people, ruled not by violence and chaos, but by law and order. Or, instead, whether we are permanently torn apart by something else, narco-terrorists, violence, radical Marxism, and globalist exploitation, social denigration, and so-called social justice. We've had great collaboration in recent months, and I want to thank each and every one of you for supporting our ability to find, fix, and finish narco-terrorist targets. Ultimately, that is what it is going to require: finding, fixing, and finishing narco-terrorists, either unilaterally, or bilaterally, by, with, and through, and together, finding, fixing, and finishing narco-terrorists. And we'll finish the job, which is why I'm proud to announce the new motto of the ACCC, maybe formal, maybe informal, I haven't decided yet. The new motto of the ACCC is, we do bad things to bad people.
Oh, I like that.
That's the mentality I want to have inside this room. Now, we're good people that do good things, but ultimately we're dealing with bad people that have done a lot of bad things to a lot of good people for a very long time. And they're about to meet a new sheriff in town in the ACCC. And we mean business. Narco-terrorists, DTOs, drug traffickers are hereby on notice. Under President Trump, we will make the Americas great again. The safety and prosperity of one will strengthen the safety and prosperity of all. God bless you, and God bless the great citizens of your countries. Thank you very much.
Again, as people complain and say nothing's happening, it's because they probably don't see this. They probably haven't been shown it. I know sometimes they can get long and maybe seems like it's, can you get to it? And you may look away, but it's very important to understand what he just said. We have 19 countries in the Western Hemisphere that are basically, and if you look through it, they are basically under American, I won't say rule, but American dominance. We have 19 countries in the Western Hemisphere that have submitted to the President of the United States. We run this. Once you come across that ocean from Europe, you're in the Western Hemisphere, and we control it. And we've got 19 other countries that have now come together with us and said, okay, I like the idea. We understand the Monroe Doctrine, now the Donroe Doctrine. And it's weird because they don't even talk about it. The media never brings it up. And then people on X, nothing's happening. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Do you understand a coalition that we're building? What kind of strength and power these countries together are going to have? It's got to make Cuba stay up late at night. It's got to make the people in Mexico, or actually the leaders in Mexico, stay up late at night. You are now basically the birds of prey are looking at you. Venezuela was one of the big stepping stones we had to get. Notice the media never talks about that either. They never talk about us doing the thing we did with Venezuela and now controlling Venezuela's oil. It never comes up. I swear, there's libtards walking around who have no idea how he's positioning America in the Western Hemisphere. You guys over in Europe, good luck. Take care of your own stuff. Don't need you. NATO, who cares? Meanwhile, understand when you cross that line coming across the ocean, you're in our territory. And the other territory, I mean, he's still talking about Greenland too, which is now makes sense. Now we understand why Greenland was so important. So you figure Mexico, Cuba, and of course Canada need to come to the table very soon. I would not be surprised. Well, we know Cuba's going to fall. I'm not sure what's going to happen with Mexico, but maybe Canada will come screaming and kicking, but they're going to have to come and kiss the ring. They're going to be completely dependent upon the United States if they're not already. So a lot of stuff is happening. A whole lot is happening. And he also talked about the International Criminal Court making that whole thing moot, meaning that, we are going to be sovereign over here. We are not going to have, it's no longer international. That's the other thing. If we have 20 countries in this coalition, what's your international? Is it Sweden, Norway? Who's got the chutzpah over there? Spain, we can see how you guys act. Who's running your stuff? Crazy. What do you think? Oh, the button worked. Yeah, okay.
Hey, you got a big storm coming down your area. It's going directly south.
I can hear it
looking
rumbling.
at the radar.
And I'm looking at the trees outside, and the trees are doing all like that and craziness. Yep. Yeah, so
that's normal for you.
Yeah, as long as we don't get blown out, but we're doing good.
All right, hopefully you stay on air. I have cut 7 and 8. 7 is, I thought it would be a good fitting goodbye for Carolyn. It's Eric Doherty posted one of her greatest ever smackdowns at the White House press.
Let's hold that to the end. And that'll be our sign-off one.
Okay. The next story is oh boy, yeah. Oh boy.
Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy.
Bankrupt them. Bankrupt these sons of guns. All right, Justin. The Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals has nearly unanimously ruled against Planned Parenthood, which could result in the organization being forced to pay out up to $1.8 billion. That would effectively bankrupt Planned Parenthood. Plaintiffs allege Planned Parenthood kept taking Medicaid money and did not give it back after Texas and Louisiana decided they should no longer be allowed to participate in the program. Wow. If the court finds Planned Parenthood actually illegally billed Medicaid, the penalties could be absolutely massive, with some estimates reaching as high as $1.8 billion.
Oh, you know what's funny with that? Why aren't there a whole bunch of rich libtards pitching in for for the cause? You got Jay-Z, you got what's her name, Taylor Swift. You got all these Bruce Springsteen. Oh, I got a story about Bruce Springsteen tomorrow for you. All these libtards. Oh yeah. I'll skip to it real quick.
Okay.
Max Weinberg, the drummer of in the E Street Band, who I used to love the E Street Band. Maybe Max is on the right side of things, but Max just sold a house up the road, not too far from Mar-a-Lago. He sold some land, some dirt, for $15 million. $15 million. Funny how capitalism works when you're when you're getting that kind of cash. $15 million for the dirt. I was shocked. So maybe they should do like a concert-a-thon and have everybody come in and give up some money. They could probably raise money for the the baby removals. and
I have a question for you. So the I just sent you a link. You do real estate, of course, right? So tell me what this is worth in LA on Skid Row. Okay, don't play. You can't play the music. You can show it, but don't play the music. It's only 8 seconds.
Wait, hold on. Let me find it here. Number
below cut 8. I didn't label it. Tell me, is this worth $2,500 a foot?
What the hell is that?
I mean, that's. I love the penthouse view at the top.
Well, first of all, if you work in the code department of Los Angeles, how are you not going by there and saying, take this crap down today?
Because they're all in the take, Barry, right? I mean, it's Bass's neighborhood. I mean, she doesn't do anything. But I mean, look at that. Look at that white bucket. I hate to find out what's in that white bucket hanging on the ledge.
So it looks like there was renovations going on at the building, and they probably had the scaffolding up for it, and they just took it over. They're like, oh, I got a high rise now. I want to know who lives in the blue one and the yellow one up top. And
oh my God!
And I wouldn't want to be downstream when they have to use the bucket.
Evacuate. Yeah. I mean, Hey, that's probably worth some money though. That's $2,500 a ladder foot,
My
a
gosh.
bare foot, or this, I'd say so.
You got to have a hard hat to live there, and also a big old raincoat, a trench coat or something. Hey, okay, let me show you
my
this.
God.
So the next time you hear about Springsteen, he's for the peoples.
Okay.
Now, you know,
peoples?
maybe Max is different. Maybe, you know, he doesn't necessarily agree with what the boss is saying. But look at this. Bruce Springsteen's longtime drummer quietly sold $13 million Palm Beach land, the lot, just the dirt, for $13 million in just days. Wait a minute. I thought the economy sucked. How do you sell it? He never got a listing up. They got word of it. Oh, you got to see this in just days. Okay. Let me pause that video. It says,
Sorry, is that capitalism?
That's capitalism with a big C. E Street Band drummer Max Weinberg and his wife Rebecca just sold one of the largest remaining intercoastal land assemblages in Ocean Ridge, a small Palm Beach County enclave that has quietly become one of the region's most competitive waterfront markets. The adjoining parcels at 7 and 9 Sable Island Drive traded for $13 million. And you can see there's not even a house. It's just dirt.
So what do you think that's going to go for once there's a property on there? Probably 5 times the amount?
60,
or more?
50, 60. It's got 320 feet of deep water waterfront, ocean access. And remember, what's her name? Big Letty up in New York tried to tell everybody that Mar-a-Lago was only worth 18. And here it says the lots span more than 33,000 square feet and stretch 325 feet along the intracoastal, enough room for a buyer to build a sprawling custom estate or a full family compound from scratch. And there's he and his wife. And let's see where it goes. The site comes with deep water dockage, a freshly rebuilt seawall, and quick boat access to ocean through the Boynton Inlet. A source told the Palm Beach Post the home never hit the open market. A buyer simply stumbled upon the listing and snapped it up within days.
Crazy. Wow.
Well,
so all the properties.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, Barry, sorry. All the properties directly, around that are probably going to go up the property value a little bit, right?
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Now, understand. I have a question. I have a big question. You have 325 feet of intercoastal water, which means that, the lot is 320, a football field long, right?
Yeah.
How many tents could we put in there for homeless people? How many tents could we pitch there? We just saw in Los Angeles, you can do the tri-story tents. We could probably build 100 tents in there. And he had to sell it for cash. He wanted the money. Yeah.
He doesn't want to help the poor people?
He don't want to help the poor people. He didn't want to help and there's Bruce, back in the day when Bruce
he didn't look like a lesbian.
Weinberg has anchored Springsteen's band since 1974. The numbers explain the appetite. The waterfront land across Palm Beach County now lists at an average of $2.4 million per acre.
Ka-ching.
Wow. Capitalism sucks when you're not participating in it, obviously.
Yeah, I'm a little jealous.
Bernie didn't come down and say, you got a millionaires. It's too much for your money there. $13 million on a property he doesn't even live at. Imagine that. No pied-à-terre tax, nothing. I saw that story.
He's taking the money and running. Yeah.
I don't blame him. I applaud him. I'm happy for him. Yeah. But it just goes to show all these people not all, I can't say superlatively, most of these people who talk the crap don't walk it. Not Beyonce, not Jay-Z, not Bruce, none of them. None of them walk it. Huh? You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Taylor Swift, she's worth billions, right?
I don't know.
The last time you heard her do anything for anybody?
Yeah, I don't know if billions, but they say her she's worth close to $1 billion, and nope, don't say anything from her. So, All right, so I'm going to go into. All right, so now this is Todd Blanche today. This is the one that you had posted.
Yeah.
This is a very interesting one. Have you heard about this one, by the way?
Yes.
What they did today? So one of the things they did today is this woman here, Southern Poverty Law Center, Heidi Bayrich. We want to take money away from hate groups so they can't function. Today, she was arrested for funneling donations into these groups. Oh, make that make sense.
She's exactly how I pictured her too, Barry. Believe it or not, I posted it in the beginning of the chat as I do my news scroll in the before the show, and I was like, I looked down and I go, absolutely,
So here we go. We have another interview again, back to back with Pete Hegseth, and now this one.
Thank you.
For all the people who say nothing's happening. Well, here's some more stuff that's not happening.
Good afternoon. Today we are announcing the arrests and unsealing of an indictment out of the Southern District of New York, charging 11 individuals for allegedly overseeing an extensive, decade-long marriage fraud scheme involving more than 1,000 sham marriages between Chinese nationals and United States citizens, and then the submission of fraudulent applications for green cards. This is one of the largest marriage fraud prosecutions in United States history. This scheme was not a quick fly-by-night operation, but rather a years-long, multi-million-dollar cottage industry to criminally assist people who would not, or legally could not, otherwise become citizens of the United States. The men and women who facilitated this scheme were all naturalized citizens originally from China and one green card holder. Under President Trump's leadership, the Department of Justice is working alongside our partners at DHS to secure the border and protect American communities, something that was ignored during the last administration. Not only are we protecting our physical borders from unlawful crossings, but we are also preventing immigration fraud schemes that are just another way to skirt the immigration laws of the United States. As alleged, some of the charged defendants acted as facilitators who orchestrated the marriage fraud scheme, pairing foreign nationals seeking immigration status with United States citizens willing to participate and engage in a sham marriage. These facilitators employed attorneys, tax preparers, and marriage officiants. Some of the other charged defendants acted as recruiters by finding and recruiting United States citizens to participate in the scheme, and other defendants acted as officiants, officiating dozens of these alleged fake marriages. Now, the way that this scheme allegedly worked is the facilitators used social media and other forms of advertising to market fraudulent immigration services to foreign nationals, primarily from China, and Chinese nationals would pay these facilitators as much as $100,000 for assistance in obtaining a marriage, which then allowed them to apply for a green card. The facilitators also paid willing U.S. citizens as much as $30,000 to engage in the sham marriage with the foreign national. Now, often after these phony ceremonies, defendants would stage images of families at restaurants to create the appearance of a legitimate wedding, and some of the defendants also facilitated sham marriages overseas in China. After the marriages took place, the actual ceremony, the then married couples would visit a local office affiliated with the scheme, sign forms for submission to the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services, learn about the USCIS interview process to apply for a green card, and then execute prenuptial agreements, which, not surprisingly, given the allegation these were sham marriages, waived their rights to share in the other's estate upon death, child support, and other claims in marital property. One prenuptial agreement even provided that, and I'm quoting from the indictment, except in the name of husband and wife, both parties live independently and must not interfere with each other, end quote. The facilitators of the scheme would then prepare and submit fraudulent green card applications and work with the couples through the immigration process, submitting photographs opening joint bank accounts, mobile phone accounts, all to obtain green cards to allow them to stay in this country, but that's illegal. These charges and the indictments now unsealed, they show how far people will go to cheat our immigration system. Gaining American citizenship and legal status to reside in this great nation is a sacred privilege, and we will ensure it is always done in accordance with the law protecting our communities and national security. These schemes have real costs. They rob our country of its ability to know who should be and should not be allowed in America. And this department and the Department of Homeland Security will not stand for this. And I think this prosecution and the hard work that went into it with the agents and the prosecutors show that. Our efforts to protect our immigration system and our country's borders are aggressive and exhaustive. No matter how complicated the scam, we will do everything in our power to stop it. Additionally, we've directed the U.S. Attorney's offices around the country and the Criminal Division here at Maine Justice to work with DHS to prioritize the investigation and prosecution of birth tourism schemes. We've also directed the Civil Division to prioritize the denaturalization of naturalized citizens who have obtained citizenship through fraud. Our fantastic lawyers have filed a record number of complaints, more than 120 at this point, since January 20th, 2025. We are a nation of borders and sovereignty. The greatness of America is only as strong as our willingness to protect it, and I am proud to be part of the whole-of-government approach to bring down sophisticated networks like this. This is indicative of the work we're doing to keep America safe. It will continue and will not relent in our efforts to protect national security. I do want to thank the Southern District of New York for their work in this case, and our partners at DHS, HSI, Homeland Security Investigations, and the FBI for the tireless work in investigating this case and bringing this prosecution. I'd like to now turn it over to our newly confirmed by the judges, SDNY United States Attorney Jamie McDonald. Thank you.
Thank you. Good afternoon. I'm Jamie McDonald, the United States Attorney for the Southern District of New York. As the Attorney General just laid out, today an indictment has been unsealed in the Southern District of New York, charging 11 defendants with an expansive conspiracy to commit marriage and immigration fraud. As alleged in the indictment, over a decade, the defendants and their co-conspirators orchestrated more than 1,000 sham marriages, which were designed to fraudulently obtain lawful permanent resident status, or green cards, for foreign nationals, primarily from the People's Republic of China. The defendants allegedly ran a full-service fraud scheme. The Attorney General laid it out for you, charging fees as much as $100,000 per green card. They recruited U.S. citizens to engage in sham marriages, arranged sham wedding ceremonies, complete with officiants, wedding attire, photographers, and attendees. They put together green card applications with which they submitted to USCIS, and they manufactured evidence in support of these applications, including by staging photographs, opening joint accounts. They coached couples before USCIS interviews, and once a foreign national obtained a green card, they arranged for a divorce. The defendants arrested today played different roles in the scheme. Some ran the operation, identifying foreign nationals who were willing to pay for the green cards. Some found or recruited U.S. citizens to enter into sham marriages and carry out the scheme. And some facilitated the fraudulent applications by leveraging a network of marriage officiants, attorneys, tax preparers, and other service providers. Through this process, the defendants made enormous sums of money for themselves. We believe this network took in tens of millions of dollars over its decade-long operation, making it one of the largest marriage fraud prosecutions in U.S. history. Investigations of this scale require extraordinary teamwork. The charges unsealed today were made possible by a coordinated law enforcement response involving federal, state, local partners working closely with our office. Now, sometimes you all ask, well, how did this investigation, how did this case come together? The way that this case developed was really, truly remarkable. It began with a single communication that our office uncovered in an entirely unrelated case. Our prosecutors identified that communication, thought that it could be tied to a potential marriage and immigration fraud scheme, They moved quickly, they obtained warrant after warrant, and followed the facts where they led. Our prosecutors and our partners analyzed communications, immigration filings, financial records, photographs, and other evidence, and identified the key participants in the scheme and the many, many sham marriages they brokered in furtherance of it. Our prosecutors built and then charged a case aimed at dismantling the network itself. That's what the case today does. Their work wouldn't have been possible without the outstanding contributions of our law enforcement partners, but I do want to note that while this case today is aimed at dismantling the network, our investigation into other aspects of it, going up and down the chain, is continuing. I'd like to take a moment to specifically recognize some of the partners that we worked with for their invaluable contributions. Homeland Security investigations, and in particular the Hudson Valley HSI, the FBI and its Westchester Safe Streets Task Force, the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services Fraud Detection and National Security Directorate, the United States Army Criminal Investigation Division, the Westchester County DA's Office, the U.S. Attorney's Office in the Middle District of Florida, and HSI in Jacksonville. All did extraordinary work with our office to investigate and disrupt this sophisticated and expansive fraudulent network with remarkable speed. I commend our prosecutors and staff in the Southern District of New York, especially in our White Plains office, which is where this investigation was run and where the prosecution will proceed, for their speed, creativity, judgment, and determination with which they built this case. The defendants will be presented in the White Plains White Plains courthouse later today. I'd also like to thank in particular the Attorney General and his office for his support in this investigation and the continued efforts of our office and all of our law enforcement partners. This case shows what coordination, hard work, this sort of whole of government approach that the Attorney General mentioned, and creativity of our nation's dedicated public servants can accomplish when we work together to protect the public. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Matthew Milholm, the Deputy for Homeland Security Investigations. Today's announcement demonstrates the strength and the purpose of Homeland Security Task Force, bringing together federal, state, and local partners to identify, investigate, and disrupt complex transnational criminal networks that cross jurisdictions and exploit lawful systems for profit. I want to thank the Department of Justice, the United States Attorney's Office in the Southern District of New York, and our federal, our state, and our local partners whose outstanding work brought this case to this important milestone. Today, we're recognizing the results of a broad, coordinated investigation led by HSI Hudson Valley, New York, into an alleged nationwide and international marriage fraud network. The indictment unsealed today charges 11 individuals with participating in a conspiracy involving sham marriages, false filings, and also fraudulent documentation intended to unlawfully obtain government benefits. The alleged scheme operated for more than a decade and involved countless sham marriages, and it generated tens of millions of dollars in illicit proceeds. The investigation focused on a network that arranged sham marriages between foreign nationals and United States citizens. These crimes were not only taking place in New York, they reached across multiple states as well as overseas. The case highlights the type of complex, organized fraud that HSI is uniquely positioned to investigate. Marriage fraud is not simply a paperwork issue. When individuals or organizations allegedly manufacture relationships, falsify supporting documents, stage evidence, and attempt to mislead the federal process, they undermine the integrity of our systems, and these are relied upon by the public and the government alike. From the earliest stages of this investigation, HSI Hudson Valley special agents followed the evidence across criminal, financial, and administrative lanes. The work required patience, it required precision, and it required extensive coordination. Through the Homeland Security Task Force, investigators were able to seamlessly share critical information, connect leads across jurisdictions, and mobilize the full strength of our collective capabilities when and where they were needed most. Together, HSI and its Homeland Security Task Force partners combined complex fraud expertise, financial analysis, criminal investigative resources, and local knowledge to address an alleged network that reached beyond any one jurisdiction. I want to specifically recognize HSI New York's Hudson Valley office for its leadership in this investigation, along with the FBI, CIS, ATF, Army, CID, and many other law enforcement partners. Today's indictment represents an important step in the criminal justice process. HSI will continue to investigate organizations that seek to profit from fraud, deception, and the exploitation of lawful government processes. We will do so professionally, meticulously, and in close partnership with prosecutors and law enforcement agencies at every level of the U.S. government. I want to thank the special agents of HSI, our task force officers, analysts, prosecutors, and every partner agency that contributed to this investigation. Their work reflects the best of coordinated law enforcement in the United States. Thank you.
You have to imagine, if you heard, as he just mentioned, the dates, that this has gone on for 10 years. So it's 2026. It's been going on, as much as we know, or as much as they know rather, all the way back to 2016. Now when you start putting these dates together and you're seeing all of the rats that were inherent in our financial systems, now you know why they had to try and hamstring President Trump in his first term. Now we can see why they had to keep impeaching him over and over to stop him. You have to wonder how many of these people in government had their hands into all these scummy things that we've been learning about. There's no way that these people pulled this stuff off by themselves. And it just drives me crazy. I mean, absolutely nuts when I see people say nothing is happening. You know, we were promised this and nothing is happening. You're not looking. You're not, I mean, the people who say that don't see this kind of stuff. They don't watch everything and how it's being put together. The people that they're indicting, they're going to look at some serious jail time. And let's see, are they going to talk up and say, hey, cut me a break and let me tell you what I know? That all took time. And now we're starting to see the actual handcuffs go on people. It's not the ones we all thought, the big marquee names, the Obama, the Hillarys, but we're breaking their house down at the very bottom, and especially with the money. So with everything you've seen over the last 18 months, with Doge cutting off funds, with Wally Nigerian being taken out, and I can't even count how many fraud things that they've done at this point. Like I said before, that the network should, if they were really worried about this stuff, would have a ticker. How much fraud have we found? How many different schemes have we now uncovered? Probably too many for you guys to even remember. The easy ones to remember are SNAP and all the welfare fraud. But now you got people making up fake weddings and making $100,000 per wedding and having it paid for by the government. It's just fraud on top of fraud on top of fraud. Getting the feeling at this point is that's how our country has operated for quite some time. And we sit back and pay your taxes every single year, and these people are laughing all the way to the bank. It's disgusting.
Thank you. All right, thanks, everybody. We'll take a couple of questions. David?
Is there any evidence that these people wanted to come to the United States to spy for China? Is there an espionage aspect to this?
Not as alleged in the indictment, no. I mean, I think that as the U.S. Attorney mentioned, this investigation, as you would expect, given the numbers and what we described today, is not over. So if there's more to come in that space or anywhere else, you'll hear about it, but not as alleged in the indictment.
And separately, if I could ask you on the Anthony Fauci contempt referral, is there any update on that? Is your office closer to coming forward with any decision on that?
Well, no, I don't have an update. As you guys know, when the Department of Justice receives a referral from Congress, there's a process. There's a process of how we take it in and how we investigate it. But any update that I would expect to come from this department would be if there's ultimately a decision made, and that certainly won't be anytime soon.
In the reflecting pool case, Stacey Hearn.
What about the reflecting?
That's you guys to come forward and look at potential misdemeanor. Is there any update on where you guys are with that?
I don't know what you mean by the White House has asked us to do that, but no, I don't have an update on that. I think there's been a lot of comments and source-based comments about what, if anything's happening with that case. The judge ruled in that case, or we're waiting for the ruling, and I don't have an update, no.
We've learned that the Justice Department has unsealed the case against the former chief financial officer of the Southern Poverty Law Center. Can you please speak a little bit about what you've learned as part of that investigation and if we should expect more charges?
So yes, today, my understanding is today there was an arrest made, and there is a new indictment that includes the former CFO of SPLC. I don't have any comments about whether, we've said from the beginning, everybody, not just me, but anybody who's talked about this case, like virtually every criminal case, the fact that an indictment is returned doesn't end the investigation. It's just part of the investigation in most cases, which is certainly true in this case. I think as alleged in the indictment, this individual participated in the scheme as alleged. I believe she was part of the effort to open bank accounts in completely fictitious companies' names and make payments to individuals for reasons that were not that they were not accurate as described. But I don't have. I think the indictment was unsealed this morning. I believe it was unsealed this morning. I think the arrest was this morning. I don't have anything to say beyond that, except to say that this is exactly what we said would happen in a case like this, which is that our investigators and the U.S. attorneys and the agents working the case can keep on working it even after the initial indictment.
Thank you. Question about yesterday, President Trump said that he's exploring federal options against New York City's second home tax. Is the DOJ exploring legal options to counter that tax right now?
I don't have any comment about what we're doing to explore legal options with respect to that tax. I think that's a combination of the Department of Justice and potentially other agencies that would look into what to do. The president's spoken publicly about his views of it, and the Department of Justice has filed civil lawsuits against cities all over the country where appropriate, but we haven't filed a lawsuit yet, and I'm not going to comment on what we're doing around that.
Before the press goes off on a tangent here, talking about anything but what he's talking about, Kash Patel had posted this, and it says, following an FBI investigation with our DOJ partners, today we are announcing a superseding indictment against the Southern Poverty Law Center Director of Intelligence, Heidi Beirich. As alleged, Heidi was at the center of an ongoing investigation into SPLC and their previously alleged criminal activity, where SPLC knowingly misled donors who believed their money was being used to dismantle violent or extremist organizations, when in fact, part of those donations were instead being used to pay senior leadership within those extremist groups. Just imagine that. She was talking about, give us money to fight the Ku Klux Klan, to fight all these different organizations, while she was actually funding them to keep them alive so she could get more donations. That's insane. It says here, according to the indictment from our investigation, Beirich played a primary role in this scheme for at least 2007 to 2023, 16 years. She allegedly helped orchestrate this fraudulent activity worth $4.2 million, conspiring with SPLC to defraud donors, obtaining money through these materially false and fraudulent pretenses and omissions to pay leadership of the very violent organizations they claim to be opposing. You can't make this stuff up. She was double dipping. Hey, I need money to fight this and make sure this never goes away, so we have to always get money to fight it. Let's fund them to stay operational. Wow. Beirich was arrested today. Actually, she was arrested, charged with crimes including wire fraud, conspiracy to commit false statements to a federally insured bank, and conspiracy to commit concealment money laundering. This is an ongoing investigation. The FBI will find anyone who exploits the trust of the American people and our financial system. I'm not sure where this arrest came from, but I won't be surprised if they say this came from one of the grand juries that have been open for a couple months now. Remember, Miami, Fort Lauderdale. There's also one in Fort Pierce, Florida, and another up in North Carolina. So don't fall for the doomer stuff that nothing's going on. You're seeing it right before your eyes.
Yes.
I have a question about a different kind of fraud. Thank you so much. Oh, thank you. The Justice Department's been investing a lot of resources in combating fraud on taxpayer programs. In addition to cases that target beneficiaries and providers who file fraudulent claims, can we expect to see the Justice Department pursue state officials who have been aware of extensive fraud but have failed to stop it?
Well, we've talked extensively, as has the Vice President of the task force, that we very much believe that one of the reasons why we have a massive fraud problem and a massive issue of people stealing from taxpayer money is because state officials are not doing their job in making sure that there's appropriate checks in place to stop the fraud. Now, there's a difference between a state employee or state official not doing their job and committing a crime. And so when we look at some of these programs that are being administered by the states and we see absolutely no effort to do anything to police who's receiving the money, then that's something that we, of course, will investigate. But that's different than whether we will ultimately charge an individual with a crime. If we learn that an individual has committed a crime, whether it's a participant in the scheme, a leader, or a city official, or a city leader, yes, we will absolutely indict and prosecute that person, which is what we would do in any case. But I do think that, as the Vice President has talked about repeatedly, one of the wake-up calls we hope governors and city officials will take from what we've been doing over the past 6 months, 9 months, is to realize that they need to, this is money, this is taxpayer money, the generosity of the American taxpayer, and so they need to do their part to make sure that they are the first line of defense, that the people applying for these benefits are entitled to receive them. But if we learn that they're not only closing their eyes and letting it happen, but affirmatively helping in a criminal way, we'll definitely move forward with that. Yeah.
Follow up on that. It's been a while now since Vice President Vance referred the top Democratic leadership of Minnesota to DOJ for this type of investigation. Can you talk about the status of where that stands?
Of where an investigation, the leaders of
he referred it over here. Is that something you've opened on, or you intend to, or can you just kind of are you making progress toward that end?
We've spent a ton of resources, and we continue to spend a ton of resources in Minneapolis combating fraud, and that includes a very intense look at the leadership and the programs and who's administering them. But beyond, and the governor knows that, and everybody knows that, and that should be the case. That's what every single person should expect us to do as the Department of Justice. But I don't have an update or comment on how that's progressing beyond the fact that, yes, we have a lot of resources spending there. Yes.
Attorney General, this is either for you or for the U.S. Attorney. There's a hearing scheduled for Friday in the Luigi Mangione case, and the question is whether does this indicate that there might be a plea in the offing in that case? Is there anything you can update us on that issue?
Yeah, go ahead.
There's a conference scheduled for 11 a.m. on Friday, and that's all we can say at this time.
On this case, for the attorney, I was curious about what were the common themes here of people who were Americans that were targeted in this? If you can clarify how this was, maybe discovered and how these people were found to take part in this.
It's a good question. I'm not sure that there was a common theme with respect to the Americans. I think there were common themes in respect to the ways that they were recruited. They were recruited through various networks. The individuals that we've charged today, some of them were recruiters. They were out trying to identify people who would serve on the other side of these sham marriages. They then used their own networks to try to recruit additional people. A significant amount of it was done through various methods of communication, including social media advertisements that were sort of veiled where they may not have been apparent on their face, that they were recruiting U.S. citizens to participate in these sham marriages, but that could lead to the initial discussion, and then in those discussions they were recruited to be part of the scheme.
Alex.
One on this case, just on the number of marriages, the 1,000 number, I mean, what happens to the people who receive the green cards? Is there a process where they're going to be ultimately have their green cards revoked? And then on a separate question afterwards, if I can.
Sure. So it depends on the circumstances. So this scheme started in 2016, ended now. We just brought it down. And so depending on where a criminal, because that's what they are, where they are in the process of the immigration process. Some of them will be earlier on, some of them already have their green card, some of them may actually already be citizens. So depending on where they are, yes, that's part of the investigation that we're doing now, and there's a lot of work. There's thousands of marriages that we're looking into, and so I expect that there will be more work, whether that's civil, like you just asked, where you're pulling their immigration status and deporting them, or criminal, depending on the circumstances and the proof that we have. Exactly, but that's a big effort that we're taking, that we're undertaking now, and I think that it's hard to say this is what will happen with every single sham marriage, because it depends on the evidence and the factors.
And just on a follow-up, the president has never gone as far as you have to say that the anti-weaponization fund is dead. Now that you've been confirmed, narrowly because arguably of that anti-weaponization fund, just the president said this week he'd leave it up to you. What's your answer? Is it dead, and is it ever going to come back?
Well, so I quibble with that because the president said in the cabinet meeting that it's dead. He's also said that he likes it, but he has also said it's dead. Now, as for me, and I keep on saying this over and over again, but I'm happy to say it one more time. I have testified under oath that it's dead. I have testified in front of the House where I wasn't under oath, where I said it was dead. I have answered questions after my hearing where I said that it was dead. I have rescinded the order that set up the weaponization fund, which means that it does not exist. As we've said repeatedly, there were never commissioners. There was never any money went anywhere. So I'm not sure how I can further say that the anti-weaponization fund doesn't exist, or we use the word dead. But if anybody has any ideas, we also have said under oath that if Congress would like to make it a law, that we would support that, as would the White House. So I'm not sure. I get that this is a super fun story to not let die, but I don't know what else to say except that yes, the president feels very strongly, as do I, that there were people who were victims of a Department of Justice that was absolutely weaponized, and he feels very strongly that he would want to make them whole, as do I. But it will not be through the anti-weaponization fund, which again was never set up, and nothing has happened with it. But thanks, Alex. Sarah.
I'm short. I have an on-topic and an off-topic. On-topic, I know that SDNY in particular actually has done a lot of investigations over the last several years into, people who were harassed by China, who are political dissidents, who are trying to escape oppression. So I'm curious if any of the people...
Just to jump in, she said SDNY, Southern District of New York. It's the court obviously up there. So I just want everybody to know when she said SDNY, what she was talking about.
And these 1,000 marriages were maybe in that position where they were trying to get cover, to protect themselves from, being harassed by China. That's my on-topic question.
So I think, and Jamie can speak more to this if he chooses, but it's hard to label a particular marriage and a particular reason or why it happened. You're right, Southern and Eastern District of New York have had a lot of cases in that space over the past couple of years. When I will add, though, that if there is a Chinese national who feels like they're being harassed, they have other ways to remedy that besides entering into a sham marriage, right? You can't, just because you're being harassed doesn't give you the right to go commit a crime. So, but yeah, I don't think it's fair to try to say some percentage or some number may have separately claimed that they were harassed, so.
And then my off-topic, I was just curious if there were any updates. We've been having primaries across the country, and as usual, the Civil Rights Division has been sending monitors in some of these places to sort of keep tabs on things. In the past, the head of the Civil Rights Division has said some of these counties have had irregularities, she said in the past. What's been the feedback so far? Have you spoken with people in the Civil Rights Division to see what they're observing in these primaries, and if you have any concerns that they have raised as they've been observing polling places.
So I don't have an update necessarily today to say here's what we're doing, but yes, that is something that the Department of Justice, as every Department of Justice does, is making sure that we're appropriately monitoring between now and, you're right, there's primaries, but up through the election, and we'll continue to do that. I think there's not anything secretive about this process. There's not supposed to be. I don't think there should be. So to the extent that the Civil Rights Division is doing something, we're not going to do it in secret. You'll know about it because it's important the American people know about it, because we're doing it to make sure that we have elections that are fair and run the right way. So all right, I'll take one more question. Got it. Go ahead.
Next week, there's a deadline in the Comey case. The defense has said that there was evidence that was gathered by the government that suggested there were alternative reasons, sort of the restaurant narrative of '86. How confident are you today that that case will survive to trial and ultimately result in a conviction?
So I'm not going to comment on a defense filing in any case, because that's not fair to any of the parties involved. And so I don't have a comment on the way that every case works in this country is that when every indicted case it means a grand jury has returned an indictment. That means that a grand jury found probable cause that a crime has been committed, and there's a trial. And there's a lot of cases as a prosecutor that I felt were definitely going to get convictions, and that didn't, or that it was a tough conviction. There's cases that were really, really tough that got convictions, and so I'm certainly not going to act like I have a crystal ball and predict what's going to happen with that case at trial, but it's enough to say that this was a case that was returned by a grand jury. It's not out of D.C., it's out of a district in North Carolina, and we'll go from there. All right, thanks a lot, everybody. Have a good day.
So you notice he was talking about the grand jury. All the indictments are coming forth from a grand jury. So evidence has been presented. The grand jury has returned the indictment. Go lock them up. So yes, the old saying is you could indict a ham sandwich, but we're still fighting upstream against many of these judges that don't want to recognize, the grand jury's indictment. But Comey is still in play, which is probably why he's so quiet, because I'm sure his attorneys told him, shut up. But that's one thing you guys have to just keep in the back of your mind. North Carolina grand jury, Fort Pierce, Fort Lauderdale, and Miami all have open grand juries. What they're doing, that's why they're grand juries. It's all in secret. And so there's a lot going on, so much. I mean, even the questions that they had, they were mentioning cases that they already knew. Where are they? Are you going to be doing this? And if I was Tim Walz right now, or Jacob Fry in Minnesota, I'd be really concerned. They're still digging in Minnesota. You would think at this point they would have had that all locked up. Hey, there's either nothing here or there might be something there. So in that regard, Tim Walz is not out of the water. You heard him say we're still pursuing things, which means there's probably people flipping, and there's probably people talking. Maybe Walz himself is flipped. Who knows? We have no idea. But at least tell these people who say nothing's going on, shut up. Just completely shut up. You don't know. I don't know. But there's obviously things going on. Absolutely. So let me check in with SV. There he is. How you doing?
Hey there. What's up? How you doing?
Now, I know you wanted to close with a testimonial or tribute to Caroline Leavitt. But I think I found her replacement. You see, there's a museum up, I forget the name of the museum, and they have their own press person who is talking, and this person is already working for the government. They have their agency is funded by you and me, and I think this person would be great for the new press secretary. So here, let me play it for you. I feel like Jodie, what's her name? Jodie Foster in the movie Contact. No words. I've got no words. I'm like, oh no. Oh,
I didn't know where that was going, man. I knew it was a spoof, but oh my goodness.
Oh no. That one, it was real. It's real. That works for the city of Austin, Texas, in a government program, and that's their PR person for.
No.
Oh my gosh! I don't know what it's going to take. Maybe that's the next WNBA player. I can't tell you because at this point it's become a complete farce. A complete farce. All right, so
Man, I'm ready for the aliens to come down and take us away, man.
Yeah, bring the comet. Bring the comet.
I mean,
I
holy
can't
crap.
take anymore. So SB found this cut of Caroline Levitt giving some idiot libtard reporter the what for. So let's go ahead and play that.
Agent acted recklessly and killed it unjustifiably.
Oh, okay. So you're a biased reporter with a left-wing opinion.
What do you want me to do?
Yeah, because you're a left-wing hack. You're not a reporter. You're posing in this room as a journalist, and it's so clear by the premise of your question. And you and the people in the media who have such biases but fake like you're a journalist, you shouldn't even be sitting in that seat. But you're pretending like you're a journalist, but you're a left-wing activist. And the question that you just raised and your answer proves your bias. You should be reporting on the facts. You should be reporting on the cases. Do you have the numbers of how many American citizens were killed at the hands of illegal aliens who ICE is trying to remove from this country? I bet you don't. I bet you didn't even read up on those stories. I bet you never even read about Laken Riley or Jocelyn Nungray or all of the innocent Americans who were killed at the hands of illegal aliens in this country. And the brave men and women of ICE are doing everything in their power to remove those heinous individuals and make our communities safer. And shame on people like you in the media who have a crooked view and have a biased view and pretend like you're a real honest journalist.
Hey, Barry, I have a pro tip, man. I have a pro tip real quick. Don't mess with a pregnant woman. Ever.
Oh, that's right. She was pregnant then. That's right.
Yes.
Yeah. You pissed her off on the wrong day. It was funny. People, after I played the person who's applying for her job, people were like, is it real? Oh, that was 100% real. That person is working in a museum and is the spokesperson. Just to let you know.
33.
Yeah.
We're going to have a wonderfully big party on September 12th. We're going to be honoring that special year when the United States...
I can't.
Well,
ooh, I'll get myself in trouble. My gosh.
Just in case you haven't seen, look at the next cut.
Oh, you just sent me
official.
something?
Yeah, it's already official, man. It's official.
I was wondering how long it was going to take. That's the new White House press secretary. Oh, that's too funny. Oh my gosh. Tomorrow is Thursday, obviously. And so usually when they do a press conference, it usually is on Thursday. So we'll see tomorrow. I'm sure, she'll come out, but I wonder if they've already got somebody ready to go. That would be absolutely awesome. But I doubt they have somebody ready as of yet. Somebody said the guy in Austin looks like Maxine Waters.
Yeah, he did actually.
Oh, it's Maxine Waters looking for a new job. By the way, hasn't she gone into the Mitch McConnell school of politics? I haven't seen her alive for like forever. So I don't know what's going on with these people.
She's over 90 now.
Is she?
Isn't that right?
I didn't know.
I think she's
I didn't
90.
know she was that old.
90.
She's old. I know that. She's old.
That's old.
All right. Well, let me do super chats and then get
All right.
out of here.
Good night, everyone.
Thank you very much. All right, everybody. Let's do the super chat dance. Alec, where can I find a $20 burrito? The most expensive one I've seen is 14, and that's the one that can easily feed 2 people. I don't know. I have no idea where that whole thing came from and how they were complaining about the $20 burritos. But thank you. Cheers up. 5 sticks and millions of newcomers voting just gave all the proof needed to go to paper ballots. I mean, if you guys didn't see that, go back to the beginning. And it's like in the first couple minutes, first 5 minutes, and you'll hear the woman in Wisconsin yesterday say, "Oh, it happens, from time to time, and I had to take this." It's ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. Cheers up again. Something was fishy when Bernie and AOC. What happened here? Hold on, let me click out of here. Bernie and AOC backed off. Yeah, I agree with you completely. Oops, What did it jump down here? Something fishy. What's going on? Okay. Why does that keep popping up? Get off of there. Get off of there. All right. Research polls keeps texting me and I lied to them. Yeah, that's what we should do is ask for people to poll us and then we can give them false information. Research polls. Mary, DFW Airport is installing dedicated Islamic voodoo foot washing stations inside the bathrooms. Oh my gosh. That's crazy. Marini? Right. Marco and his other guy would have dressed up like the delivery food truck driver to get away with him if he was worried about that. Yep, absolutely. Alec, log files can be very valuable to identify any funny business. I would love to do some forensic on those drives. You got that right. You're absolutely right there. He's talking about those thumb drives. Peaceful Haven Media. Thank you. Benny had on that poster back you had on ages ago. He's espousing midterms are lost, going Democrat. How anyone of credibility would give the hack time of day, anything for clicks. Hey, how can you look at any poll anymore and say, yeah, this is where it is? And who must you be talking to that feel this way? Like I said, you can't be talking to Max Weinberg's drummer. It's insane. And they're doing it and they're talking to a very small sliver of people on X. Unreal. Alec, polling numbers are set to context for cheating. Yeah, they missed it last night. The only useful information that polling provides is how big the ballot drop needs to be. Exactly. How can polls be off by 20 points the same way Trump lost in Iowa? Exactly. Remember that lady? She said he was going to lose by 13. G-Money says arrest them all. Agreed. I still want that $20 burrito, Alex says. I don't want to pay $20 for a burrito. Diana, yeah, my husband is in the ICU with pneumonia, and I watch your shows while sitting with him, also taking care of our 11-year-old grandson. I need prayer for him. Bless you, Diana. Sorry to hear. Hope your husband recovers. And a lot of people, when they hand out the prayers and say they pray for his recovery, need to pray for you too. You're going through a lot of stress, and we pray for you as well. Jet Extra, if you know a young person who is voting commie because they want a home, tell them far and wide they will never own a home under communism. Nope, they'll be coming for them. And if that doesn't work, then they'll come for their capital gains. Yesterday, it's the same guy, that same pollster was talking about how capital gains tax being reduced isn't good. I'm thinking to myself, do you have any investments at all? And again, it's indicative of who the people that they must be talking to. Of course, capital gains is, I just can't with these people. Jen Extra, for all that are against Israel, the Bible says we will have a new earth, Jerusalem, to go home to. I hope they remember this, get saved today. Most of them aren't Christian. They don't believe what the Bible says. So that's one big problem. Peaceful Haven again. Life on the scaffolding brings new meaning to moving on up. It sure does. I would love to sit out there and just take video and just watch these people and what they're doing. That's crazy. And Chiosap, one more time, thank you. Jacob Fry speaks and eats Somali. He can hide there. Oh, I saw that video when he went to eat the Somali food, and it was nasty. You could see on his face that he wasn't happy with it. All right, everybody. Tomorrow, Thursday, maybe we'll get a press conference. Maybe it's her, let's see, no. If she comes out tomorrow, it's only going to be the 13th, so she's got time to do a couple more. But we may see her 3 more times tomorrow, 13th, 20th, and 27th. Let's see if she comes out tomorrow. Talking about Caroline Levitt. All right, see you guys tomorrow.
Thank you.